Welcome to Hometown Happenings. I'm Carol McCarthy along with Cassidy Nelson and Greta Nelson, and they are here representing Miss Frazee Outstanding Teen and also Miss Northern Lakes Outstanding Teen. And we're here to talk about a topic that's near and dear to them. It's distracted driving. And first off, welcome first off to Hometown Happenings.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
All right. Today we're going to talk about distracted driving and also a challenge that they're having right now about Show Us Your Band, taking the pledge not to drive distracted. But we're going to get to that in the second half. But first off, I wanted you to tell me a little bit about your story, why you chose distracted driving as your platform.
Well, in 2011, my mom got in a car accident, and I was at my summer rec softball team end of the year party, and she came about 20 minutes early to see when she was supposed to come pick me up, and then she left, and then about 20 minutes, half an hour later, her friend Missy came and picked me up, and she didn't really say anything, and then in the middle of the ride, she pulled over to the side of the road, and she turned around and told me that my mom had been in a car accident. And that's all she said, and she turned the car back on and started driving. And I didn't really know what was going on. I hadn't seen any of my family for the rest of that day, and I was really scared, and I didn't know what had happened to my mom. I didn't know if she was dead or just severely hurt, and it was a terrible experience, and I wouldn't want anyone else to go through that.
All right, so Greta, that was your experience, and Cassidy, you were also, on that day, you were also away from your family, and tell us a little bit about your experience.
Well, my experience is a little different. I had been running errands with my mom earlier that day when we stopped at a friend of mine's house, and, well, I asked to stay and play, and eventually she said yes, and she said she would pick me up after she picked Greta up from her softball banquet later that day. But she continuously failed to show up, and I grew nervous and just really got nervous, so I asked to be driven home. And when I got there, I found no one. I couldn't find my family. I couldn't get a hold of anyone or their close friends. So I grew more and more nervous, and eventually got a hold of my dad when he told me that my mom had been in a car accident.
So that, I mean, that's just a sinking feeling.
Yes.
You not knowing, either of you not knowing what had happened. Did you know anything about, distracted driving? No, that was exactly what caused the accident that your mom was in.
Well, at the time, it was believed that he was looking at his phone, and I mean, I didn't know anything about distracted driving at the time. I was maybe 11. I didn't even realize it was an issue until this had happened, and from that day really made it a point in my life that I wouldn't contribute to this growing epidemic.
Mm-hmm. All right, and I know that both of you, Greta, you're a little young to drive right now, but I know that Cassidy, now you are getting your license?
Yep, just got it in September,
Okay.
so new driver.
All right, so now that's becoming more of a familiar term with you, but just to hear distracted driving for you, too, it was something that, and obviously you didn't hear that right away, but it was something that unfolded later.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so now you're taking it to another level, and you're going to share your message to people, tell us what distracted driving is, and then you also are going to issue a challenge for people to take the pledge and not drive distracted, and we're going to hear more about that when we come back. Welcome back to Hometown Happenings, here with Cassidy Nelson and Greta Nelson, and we're talking about distracted driving. One thing we didn't cover the first half is that your mother is in fact okay.
Yeah, she's alive.
Okay. But she actually had to go through a lot to get to recuperate.
In the past several years, she has had 5 major surgeries and spent 30 weeks in cast and crutches. So really, through this experience and seeing how that has affected her and how it's really affected us as a family, it's really a learning experience.
All right, so you're here today to discuss distracted driving, and first of all, I guess we should kind of define what distracted driving is. It isn't always necessarily a cell phone. What are some other things that would be considered distracted driving?
There's visual, like texting and driving, and then there's manual, and that's like eating or doing your makeup in the car, which I do a lot, although I'm not a driver. But there's also cognitive, which is keeping your mind on the road.
Yeah, not thinking about your homework or the things that
Yeah.
you have to do.
Being emotionally distracted.
Now, as a new driver, do you find yourself falling into some of these sometimes, or?
I have not. Since going through this experience, I've really pledged to myself and made it a point that I wouldn't contribute to this. So I always ask Greta if I need to send a text or make a call or even change a song on my playlist, I make it a point to have her do it so I don't have to be distracted.
Okay, and that's one of the things, too, that you are speaking on. I mean, you're going to various groups and speaking to driver's ed programs as well, I understand. But some of the things that you might want to consider when you are driving or when your driver, you might see your driver having that tendency to be distracted. What are some of the things that you might do?
Well, we always comment to each other, and we say when we see it in the car, we say that they're distracted and they're distracted driving. But we usually would just tell them, if we were talking to someone, we would tell them that it's so easy to not get distracted while driving. There's so many things you can do. You can, like Cassidy said, get someone else to do it for you, or create a playlist before you even go on the road, and it's that easy.
Okay. All right. And now there's something that you are going to be talking about now through April. You have a challenge for everybody to take the pledge and not drive distracted. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
We have wristbands for our platform, Distracted Driving Take the Pledge, which you can purchase at some of our local sponsors for $1. And with these wristbands, we want people to take a picture while they're not driving of either on their shifter or on their rearview mirror or on their phone or just any creative picture so that we can see how they're using it and how they're using it as a reminder. And yeah.
So show us your band.
Yeah, exactly. Show us your band.
Okay. And it's not just for drivers, it's for passengers as well, because they also are involved in distracted driving too.
Yeah, there's if you're a parent, you could have little kids in the back and they could be yelling, or if the music is too loud and you're all jamming in your car, which is what we do. But
teenagers do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So asking everybody to take the pledge and go to your local sponsors with the wristbands and take a picture and post it.
Yes.
All right.
This contest does end on midnight of April 1st, 2016. So we encourage you to not drive distracted and take the pledge.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, Cassidy Nelson and Greta Nelson, thank you so much for bringing this to us and making us more aware and being better drivers and keeping those roads safe.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's Hometown Happenings along with Greta and Cassidy. I'm Carol McCarthy.